Okay, we are public. Good afternoon. My name is Julian Morse. I'm the MLA for Frame Lake and chair of this committee. This afternoon, the committee begins its review of Bill 41, an act to amend the Real Estate Agents Licensing Act. As a reminder, this meeting is being live streamed on the Assembly's social media channels, and I think folks are relatively well experienced with our process now, but just wait to be recognized and for your mic to be turned on before speaking in particular, because we have our folks in the booth running the mics. I'll now ask members to introduce themselves. I'll start with Mr. Rogers on my left.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Denny Rogers. I'm the MLA for Newby-Creve Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Kate Reed. I'm the MLA for Grace Lake here in Yellowknife.
Okay, thank you, and I believe we don't have anyone online. Okay. The committee is joined today by Vince McKay, Minister of Municipal and Community Affairs, and the bill's sponsor. Minister, I'm going to turn the floor over to you to introduce your team and provide your opening remarks, and then you can go through your presentation, and then we'll do questions after that, so please proceed.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for inviting us to speak to committee about Bill 41, an act to amend the Real Estate Licensing Act. I'd like to introduce officials that are here with me today. They are Gary Brennan, Deputy Minister of Municipal and Community Affairs, Kevin Whitehead, Director of Public Safety with Municipal and Community Affairs, Ryan Seemack, Senior Advisor, Legislation, Municipal and Community Affairs, and I believe online is Clayton Lother, Legislative Counsel Drafter for Bill 41, Department of Justice. Also joining me is Margaret Lovely, Director of Corporate Affairs with Municipal and Community Affairs, and Jeff Ray, Municipal Special Advisor. The Real Estate Licensing Act outlines the requirements for obtaining and renewing real estate licenses, the duties and the responsibilities of licensed individuals, and the procedures for handling complaints and disciplinary actions. The purpose of the bill is to strengthen consumer protection, modernize the legislation to reflect today's reality, today's real estate industry, and improve the regulations of the real estate professions. Mr. Chair, the department is aware that these amendments to the Real Estate Licensing Act are long-awaited. The department's work on renewing the Real Estate Licensing Act began in 2023, the department conducted engagement with residents and stakeholders to understand the areas of the Act that needed review and to ensure that there was a sound base for the amendments. The bill contains the following amendments: change to the name of the Act to the Real Estate Professions Act, Licensing Act, create specific licenses for property managers, create separate licenses for home inspectors, expand the superintendent's authority to create a code of conduct, and approve standardized forms to enhance public protection, and update languages throughout the Act to be gender neutral. Under the current legislation, property managers are classified as salespersons. The bill will establish a distinct licensing class to recognize their specific responsibility and allow for future development and training or education requirements. This bill will also establish a separate licensing class for home inspectors, a profession not currently regulated by any territorial legislation. Prior to bringing into force provisions related to the home inspectors and developing home inspector regulations, the department will engage with NWT home inspectors to determine the necessary qualifications and ensure consumer protection without overburdening the industry. This bill will also expand superintendent's authority by allowing the creation of a code of conduct that outlines the ethical obligations and expectations for licensees in a clear, accessible, and understandable way for both the public and licensees. It will also allow the superintendent to approve standardized forms that must be used in a real estate transaction. MACA will engage with the industry before adopting either the entire alignment with the industry standards and to enhance consumer protection. Finally, the Act would be renamed the Real Estate Professions Licensing Act to better reflect the inclusion of additional real estate professions such as property managers and home inspectors. And Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'll ask the Deputy Minister to do the presentation. Thank you.
Yep, please proceed, Mr. Whitehead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Minister. Much of this is what the Minister just outlined, and so let's see if this works here. Perfect. So the Real Estate Licensing Act, otherwise known as REALA, does outline the requirements for obtaining and renewing real estate licenses, the duties and responsibilities of licensed individuals, and the procedures for handling complaints and disciplinary actions. So the REALA came into force back in 1991, and the accompanying regulations came into force back in 1992. So other than some minor amendments, neither the REALA or its regulations have been comprehensively updated since its enactment. So specific concerns regarding REALA were raised by members of Legislative Assembly in previous sessions and industry professionals and residents of the NMBT over the past decade. In response to these concerns, MACA has initiated a preliminary legislative review of REALA back in 2022 to determine how it should be prioritized among the department's broader efforts to review and update other legislation under its administration. So back in the 17th, 18th, and 19th assemblies, there was some concerns that were raised, and in the 19th Assembly, the Minister did commit to an engagement. So, related to engagement, the Department conducted specific engagement with residents and stakeholders to understand the areas of the Act that needed review and to ensure there was a sound basis for the amendment. And so what specifically the department did was a jurisdictional scan of across Canada where the real estate industry legislation was reviewed. Specifics to like Manitoba, Newfoundland, and Labrador, along with jurisdictions that are close and similar to the NWT, such as Alberta and the Yukon. So based on this research, MACA released the review of the Real Estate Agents Licensing Act Survey Questionnaire back in February of 2023 and encouraged engagement through a public press release and newspaper ad to engage with the public industry stakeholders to determine if legislative changes were required. Responses were accepted back in April of 2023. And specifically, MACA also directly sent out to two specific stakeholders information related to this. So a list of these stakeholders included the Northwest Territories real estate salespersons, home inspectors, property managers, lawyers, financial institutions, and several organizations that included the Young Life Chamber of Commerce, NWT Chamber of Commerce, NWT Association of Communities, and local government administrators of the NWT. In total, MACA received 33 survey responses from the public, real estate agents, and salespersons, and others employed in a profession connected to the real estate industry. So, like the Minister had mentioned, the purpose of the bill is to strengthen consumer protection, modernize the legislation to reflect today's real estate industry, and improve the regulation of real estate professionals. So the specific amendments that are being proposed are changes to the name of the Act to the Real Estate Professions Licensing Act, create a separate license for property managers, create a separate license for home inspectors, expand the superintendent's authority to create a code of conduct and approve standardized forms to enhance public protection. And the Department of Justice recommended some non-substantive language changes to including gender-neutral wording. And what I could say to this is only the issues with broad support from the engagement and in the jurisdictional analysis were included as part of the amendments. So some of the details related to these, for property managers, under the current legislation, property managers are classified as salespersons. The bill will establish a distinct licensing class to recognize the specific responsibilities of property managers and allow for future development of training and education requirements. As it relates to home inspectors, this bill will establish a separate licensing class for home inspectors, a profession not currently regulated by any territorial legislation. However, prior to bringing into force provisions related to home inspectors and developing home inspector regulations, the department will further engage with NWT home inspectors to determine the necessary qualifications and ensure consumer protection without overburdening the industry. As it relates to the superintendent's authority, this bill will expand the superintendent's authority by allowing the creation of a code of conduct that outlines ethical obligations and expectations for licensees in a clear, accessible, and understandable way for both public and licensees. It will also allow the superintendent to approve standardized forms that must be used in real estate transactions. MACA will engage with the industry again before adopting either to ensure alignment with industry standards and to enhance consumer protection. And finally, the act would be renamed the Real Estate Professions Licensing Act to better reflect the inclusion and of additional real estate professions such as the property managers and home inspectors. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Excellent, thank you very much for the presentation, appreciate it. Anything further from the Minister of Department? Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it over to members for questions. Ms. Reid first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much for your presentation today. I do have one question, and I think you partially answered it in your presentation, and that's around home inspectors licensing. So it looks like you're going to hold off from making that a requirement with the Act, to put that into the regulation and work with the community of professionals to understand what's most appropriate for them. I'm just curious if you have any sort of scoping done on that already, what you're coming at that particular problem with, because it's my understanding that only Alberta and BC require licensing and home inspection right now. Most other jurisdictions rely on national certification, so I'd just like to hear the Minister and the Department's thoughts on that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Over to the Minister.
Want to take that?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, Mr.
Just
Whitehead.
Whitehead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, we have not done any scoping at this time, and so we would go do some further engagement and engage the home inspector specifically for that.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Reid,
No,
follow-up?
nothing further. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Nothing further. Okay, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, no, good stuff in here. And this may not, I don't think it ties necessarily into the Real Estate Act. I mean, realtors, I guess, can be developers as well. But I know last year we there was a conversation around the government creating our own building standards legislation with full analysis. We don't have our own, I guess, northern specific building code. Has any of that conversation kind of been tied into this, or is there any crossover here at all when you're developing this? Thank you.
Thank you. Over to the Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't believe that it has, but I can confirm if you guys are aware of that. But the building standard framework is still being worked on, so there's an opportunity to have to work together and somehow if it needs to in here. But maybe Mr. Whitehead can elaborate on that.
Thank you, Minister and Mr. Chair. No, they currently aren't overlapping at this time. I am sitting on that body as well, but at this time, no, there's no overlap.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rogers, do you have a follow-up?
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the home inspectors here then would be doing then a different scope of work than a typical inspector would be doing an inspection regarding our own northern building code. It's a different process, different set of, I guess, guidelines they look at when doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to the Minister.
You want to answer? Sure. I'll ask the Deputy Minister to answer that, please.
Yeah, so again, the building standard framework is not developed yet, but the building standards framework will be following the I guess under the FPA, the building codes that we have for that there. So it wouldn't be the home inspector doing those types of inspections. That would fall under other legislation in the NWT. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rogers, do you have further follow-up? Do any other committee members have questions for the Minister? Ms. Whalen Armstrong.
Hello, Kevin. Yeah. Okay, so separate licensing for property managers, so you're expanding that. So this is where the Future Investment Corporation would qualify, or is that are they using that license to be in the property business?
Thank you. Over to the minister.
Do you wanna? I'll ask Ryan to answer this, please. Thank you.
Sure, Mr. Seemack?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the property managers are currently licensed under the act. They were just classified under salespersons. So the only change in this act is that we're creating a separate class for property managers, and that would then allow us in regulations in the future, should we choose to define separate education or training requirements for it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Whalen Armstrong?
Thank you. Thank you for that, because I was just a little bit, not confused, but it's just that we do have, they are in property business as well now, so. Another one here, it says real estate industry in the NWT, so, you know, they're all based out of Yellowknife, and who also undertake transaction in other NWT communities, you know. We've said it many times, there's no market in small communities. So it's gonna be hard, you know, it's gonna be difficult for small communities because I've seen, there is a house listed in Edsel that's been, I think, for the last 2 or 3 years, and there's no buyers. So, it's a, you know, it's a brand new house. I mean, it is a new house, you know, it's well kept, I know that. But still, nobody would, you know. So I'm just, so what can we do in that area, you know, like, so, because they're all based out of Yellowknife, and it's just that we're losing out in small communities, that nobody wants to move to small communities, buy and sell house in small communities, so this is good, but, and then, how can we change this to accommodate, you know, like, small communities in other areas? I know that you said you have property guys there, but it's, I guess we're at disadvantage in small communities. So that's all. It's just more of a comment. It's just that what do we do in this area? Because there's, you know, like, I mean, this is good, but it's for a larger regional center, but it's not for small communities. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll give the minister the opportunity to respond to those comments if he likes.
I guess just more of a comment, but I mean, for the most part, you know, real estate agents can be in any community. They just have to obviously go for the training and write their licensing and, you know, go about their business. But it's essentially a private business. Anybody could start up in a community. And depending on the market, I guess, if the market is a hot market in a community, then that's the way the real estate world would work. But if not, then, you know, you probably wouldn't need to have don't have the demand for a real estate agent in a community. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, but certainly, I think building inspectors have somewhat of a role to play in the communities, and there's been lots of discussion about the state of housing in some of our communities, so that's to the point. Do I have any further questions from members on this bill, which we are just starting to receive here? No? Okay. Okay, thank you. With that, I'm going to bring this briefing to a close. Minister, do you have any closing remarks or final thoughts to share with the committee?
Just thanks for the opportunity, and thanks to the staff for doing all the hard work on this, and yeah, look forward to future engagements. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, and committee is looking forward to engagement on this. So thank you to Minister McKay and your team for appearing today. The committee looks forward to continuing its review of Bill 41. And I would just like to note for anyone watching that the committee is accepting public comments on Bill 41 until April 17th, and they can be sent by email to committees@ntassembly.ca. So we certainly welcome comments from the public and have already received a few letters, so really appreciate that. With that, this concludes the public portion of the meeting. Colleagues, I'll just ask that you stay as we go in camera quickly to debrief and discuss some other business. So thank you again to the minister and his staff.